My name is Lloyd, one of the developers here at DocGen. I want to start this presentation by reading this quick proverb. Swinging in the dark leads to wasted strikes. Clarity guides the aim. So the main point of DocGen is basically to eliminate the bottlenecks of starting projects, specifically for people who just got ported into a team, or a developer who had went on vacation and major updates to their repository or refactoring of code happened, and they just need to quick up to date on what's going on with the repository. It's also useful for people who are trying to learn how to code and basically following along a tutorial on YouTube, and then there's a posted repo link for all the code. A beginner could use our DocGen program and basically have a rough estimate on what the files do. So that really eliminates the fear of just starting your project. So first of all, bottlenecks. What really prevents a developer from starting, right? So given a repo, a developer has to understand the repo file structure, where the files are and what the files are doing. Speaking of files are doing, we have to understand the function of each component. So each sub file within a big repository has its own functions, and that's also what makes it a little bit difficult because you're navigating through different pages. And lastly, gathering requirements. Um, when you're trying to just start your build, there's tedious amounts of packages that you have to download to make sure that it's covered, right? So how does DocGen kickstart your workflow, right? So first of all, we made a really, really simple UI, may it be on the browser, as we have a browser offering and a command line offering. So it's literally one command, and its one task is to take in a link and basically generate the documentation in an instant. And this is an automated and event-based script. As you paste the code, everything from the start of the request to printing out the results is automated. And lastly, it's language as agnostic. Whatever your repository is written in, whatever programming language, our program is supposed to be able to take any of that. So let's talk about DocGen and how it really looks like. So first of all, you paste a GitHub repository link onto the prompt. Like as you can see, it looks just like a regular Unix-based terminal, and it's waiting for you to put input, right? Let's say you put your input on the first line, you literally just paste in and it will generate the script for you, and the documentation link could be clicked onto. As you click onto that, you could see a quick description of what the documents within the file structure are, and basically give you a rough guide on what the folder structure is, where to look at given a specific task, and it just eliminates a lot of bottlenecks, right? So it's three simple steps. Launch the program on your terminal or in the browser, paste your GitHub URL, and then open the file, as you could just read through documentation. You can even take DocGen on the go. A perfect use case for this is, let's say you have a business meeting or a meeting with your senior engineer, and you just want a quick on the go on the phone as you're going through work or to the office and want to read documentation. It's as simple as pasting the link and documentation is generated. How are we doing this? So first of all, we have a client side on our front end developed on Next.js and Tailwind, and it pulls from our scripts in Python that really generate the parsing of the documents and basically understanding the repo. That is all done in Python on the back end, and Python also sends that to OpenAI's GPT model to produce generative documentation. So it's a pretty simple one-two punch, and I'll pass it on to David for the demo on our terminal.
One of the devs for DocGen, and our project is a Python-based project that allows you to auto-generate some documentation for any existing projects that are posted on GitHub. So I wanted this to be a CLI tool, meaning we could call via the command line. So as you can see in the video, here in the terminal, we actually have the uh, the command line argument. So it's going to be Python, call the file, but there's a flag for the repo. Then it's followed by a GitHub link, which is where it's going to temporarily download the project, and then it's going to parse through every single file, count how many files there are, and then it's going to output the auto-generated documentation into a folder called test docgen. So you're able to swap out the GitHub link and you're able to change the name of the output folder. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And as you can see here on the left, it currently downloaded everything. So this project that it cloned temporarily is just one of my previous projects. And so as it's parsing, it has its temp repo. And as you can see in the terminal, It found files. It found 10 files, and that's because there is 10 files inside that GitHub repo. Of course, it's not going to count directories, and then it deletes it because you don't want to have a whole bunch of clone projects. So now we have uh, the automated files, and it shows the file path. It explains the code briefly, and then it also has code snippets here. And so we wanted this to be geared more towards a template. So that way now, once the generated files are there, it saves you so much time, and you can add the arguments if you want to each method or any extra information that you may want to include. So this is like a great starter for documentation for projects, and that is our project.